to 1189, an online Bible commentary. My name is Tyler Marston, and today we're taking a look at Genesis chapter 29. Boy, this is a pretty crazy story, but let's remember where we've been. Jacob has been chosen by God, right? He's been chosen as the descendant that God is going to use to bring blessing to all the families of the earth. And even though he didn't see that at first, even though Isaac didn't see that at first, even though Esau didn't see that at first, we saw that God ultimately is still committed to that promise. And he showed up to Jacob in the last chapter and told him all this. But Jacob is still in exile from his family. He's hiding from Esau, waiting for him to cool down. And he's also been charged to find a wife while he's at it. Right, and we see how even though God has promised to bless Jacob, it doesn't absolve him from all the sins and all the deceptions of his past. In chapter 29, Jacob gets a taste of his own medicine, right? The deceiver is deceived, and that's going to come about in this story with Laban and Leah and Rachel. Right, so starting off in chapter 29, Jacob is headed back to Padan Aram, which is where Rebekah's brother is living, and that's Laban, and he's looking for him. He finds this group of shepherds and he asks them if they've heard of him, and he leads, and they say, yeah, actually his daughter Rachel is here with us. And Rachel comes out. She's a shepherdess. She's beautiful. They have this little meet cute, Jacob and Rachel do. And Rachel says, hey, since we're kin, why don't you come back to my house and you can meet Laban and stay with us. So he's welcomed back at their place. No more rocks for pillows, right? I'm sure Jacob is very excited for this. And I think we're supposed to be getting an image here of chapter 24. Remember Abraham's servant who went back to this same area, even to Laban's house back when he was younger, looking for Rebekah, looking for a wife for Isaac. Man, remember how easy that was? Remember how God just provided in every step of the way? Remember how the servant was seeking God's will actively and praying to God throughout the whole thing? And when God revealed himself, he made every opportunity to do what God and what Abraham had asked him to do. Jacob is not going to do that. Jacob's story so far has been characterized by deception and treachery, and so it's going to turn out very differently. Then Laban said to Jacob, because you are my relative, should you therefore serve me for nothing? Tell me, what should your wages be? Now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the older was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah's eyes were weak, and Rachel was beautiful of form and of face. So we hear about Laban's 2 daughters, Leah and Rachel, and it says Leah's eyes were weak. Now, we don't know exactly what this means, but there are quite a few different interpretations. Another translation of that word weak is delicate or tender, and surely it's pretty idiomatic, but we don't always know what idioms in the Bible actually refer to. Some people say she's ugly, right? She's just hard to look at, right? When you look at her, it makes your eyes weak or delicate. It could just be that she was average looking, right? It says her sister was beautiful in form of face, and she had weak eyes. She had tender eyes, and that was it, right? It could be, she just looked average compared to her sister Rachel. Another interpretation is that she was shy, right? She had weak or delicate or tender eyes, and she kept looking away from Jacob, right? That could also be an interpretation. But either way, Jacob is clicking with Rachel and not clicking with Leah. Now Jacob loved Rachel, so he said, I will serve you 7 years for your younger daughter Rachel. Laban said, it is better I give her to you than give her to another man. Stay with me. So Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed to him but a few days because of his love for her. Aw, isn't that so cute? Jacob promises 7 years of servitude, only in exchange for being able to live at his house and marrying Rachel afterwards. Man, isn't that so sweet? Is chivalry dead in today's modern times? I mean, what could possibly go wrong with this setup? Then Jacob said to Laban, give me my wife, for my time is completed, and I may go into her. Laban gathered all the men of the place and made a feast. Now in the evening he took his daughter Leah and brought her to him, and Jacob went into her. Laban also gave his maid Zilpah to his daughter Leah as a maid. So it came about in the morning that, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, what is this thing you have done to me? Was it not for Rachel that I served with you? Why then have you deceived me? But Laban said, it is not our practice in our place to marry off the younger before the firstborn. So 7 years later, they finally have the wedding. They're all at the feast. Everybody's a little tipsy, right? Jacob heads off to bed. and he wakes up in the morning and it's Leah next to him. So it's the same thing, right? Jacob disguised himself as Esau to get what he wanted, which was his father's blessing. Laban disguises his daughter Leah as Rachel to get what he wants. The deceiver is deceived. Jacob gets a taste of his own medicine here. And what does Laban want in this scenario? Why would Laban do this? Let's keep reading. Complete a week with this one, Leah, and we will give you the other also for the service, which you shall serve with me for another 7 years. So basically he says, if you really want to marry Rachel, now you have to work for me another 7 years, right? This way he gets both of his daughters married off, and he gets a free 14 years of labor from this really hard and good worker. Let's note some differences between this story and the one where Rebekah was chosen to be Isaac's wife. First, the whole thing is a consequence for Jacob deceiving his father, right? Second, we saw the servant in chapter 24 was seeking God's will above everything else. More than anything, he wanted to please Abraham and he wanted to please God. Jacob in this story, more than anything, is seeking for Rachel, right? He loves Rachel so much. He wants Rachel to be his wife. And he doesn't really care if God approves or disapproves. Third, because it was Jacob that went himself instead of a servant, like in chapter 24, Jacob is going to end up in exile for 14 years from the land that he has been promised to inherit. And he's supposed to inherit it according to the birthright he stole, the supposed blessing he stole, and the actual real blessing from God that God wants to give him and has promised to give him. Jacob did so, completed her week, and he gave him his daughter Rachel as his wife. Laban also gave his maid Bilhah to his daughter Rachel as her maid. So Jacob went into Rachel also, and indeed he loved Rachel more than Leah, and he served with Laban for another 7 years. So we notice that the family suffers because of Laban's deception, which again was a consequence for Jacob's deception, right? The family suffered and is now in this dynamic where Jacob loves one wife more than the other, because of sin, because of lies, right? This one act, Laban's one treachery, is going to be the source of so much tension and just unnecessary drama in the story. Laban's treachery directly impacts the relationships and dynamics going forward. And it's a reminder to all of us that our sin does not happen in a vacuum, right? Whenever we sin, whenever we lie or deceive people, people get hurt by that, right? And it lasts sometimes for generations. Our sin also brings consequences on others that don't deserve it. We also see that Jacob is experiencing consequences because he deceived his father and his brother, and now he's on the receiving end of that. He knows how it feels thanks to Laban. And we find yet again, when we act according to our own wisdom, our own plans and purposes, what looks right in our own eyes, it creates pain and suffering for ourselves and for other people. And it trickles down generationally, right? And we're going to see that tomorrow when we get the story of Jacob's sons being born. So thanks for watching 1189. This has been Genesis chapter 29. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and we'll see you tomorrow. But thanks for watching.